a very different city than we were back in the 1970s. Today, I think everybody understands we have to live together and work together, and we are going to get through this. It is not going to be easy. We have to realize that we have to help those who aren't as lucky as the rest of us. We also have to go and start building businesses and making investments and going into stores and shopping and building our careers and making sure our young people, when they get out of school, have a future and can get a job. I know too many people who are looking for jobs just getting out of school, and they have a very tough time. We've got to make sure that we pull together and the economy keeps going. Now, we haven't made the mistakes that they made back in the 1970s. For a few years now, we've thought that the economy would at some point in time stop going up and go down. I don't think anybody anticipated the kind of fiscal collapse that we've had worldwide and certainly nationwide and in every state and every city. But we did prepare for it to some extent. We put $2.5 billion away for our retirees' benefits when the storm clouds were starting to form. Over the last 2 years, we have cut expenses by between $2 and $3 billion a year in this city. And at the same time, we've managed to make the services even better. The streets are cleaner than ever before. Our crime rate is lower than it's ever been since we started measuring it. Our schools are better than they've ever been. Deaths by fire. You go right down the list. Every single metric that I can think of, this city is better. And I'll tell you, if you want to know who deserves credit for it, take a look in a mirror tonight. Because it is the people of this city who are pulling together. They're the people who are paying the taxes. They pay for these services. You want to know why you have to pay taxes? Because that's the only ways we can provide services. The important thing is that those services are delivered efficiently and made available to everyone, and that we keep going with those things that work, and that we don't keep going with those things that don't work, but we try to change them to make them work. And we continue to do this, I think, even through the tough economic times. We've come up with a budget which will be difficult, but not something that will end the city. What we need is as much help as we can get from the federal government and the state government, and only time will tell how much of that comes through. But in the end, New Yorkers have to depend on their own pockets and their own willingness to cooperate, their own willingness to look on the bright side. And we are going to continue to do this. We're going to continue to, most importantly, improve our school system. Today, graduation rates are 20% higher than they have ever been. And they were when we came into office. Math scores, English scores, 20% up. And most importantly, if you take a look, and there's some numbers that came out the other day, the number of students that are taking advanced placement courses and passing the test. New York State, interestingly enough, is the second highest. Maryland is the highest. I don't know why. Maryland's a small state. But New York State, listen, I went to school in Maryland. I'll say nothing but good things about it. But I was pleased to see New York as number 2. But if you take a look at New York City, the numbers were staggering, the improvement. And the improvement was, the biggest improvement was of those who never before, people who don't have a lot of money, people starting up the economic ladder, where the kids never had an aspiration of going to college. They didn't know anybody that went to college. Their parents didn't think that education is so important. And yet that's changing. These kids now are taking advanced placement courses and they're doing well. And in the end, they're the ones that are going to be the voters and the taxpayers of the future. They're the ones that are going to take care of all of us in our old age. We all have a very big vested interest in making sure our public school system keeps improving, and we've been doing it. We aren't going to back away from anything. I do want to congratulate those who participated in the essay contest on Abraham Lincoln, including the winners, Daniel Chinta and Anne von Smitty, 2 great students. How'd I do with the names? Close? Anaya, okay. Well, nevertheless, I'm proud that they were the winners here, and the reason that our school system is getting better is, to some extent, Herman Badillo. I'm sorry that Herman couldn't be here. Let me tell you for 2 seconds what Herman Badillo did, which is a good lesson for all of us. Herman Badillo said, our kids can do better, and he raised standards. And I think what we all know is we all work up to standards. If they're low standards, you don't do very much. If they're high standards, It is just amazing how much people can do. And Herman Badillo made some very courageous decisions back then when he's running at City University. He was the one that said, no, we're not going to lower our expectations down to what the kids are doing. We're going to raise our expectations and have the kids work up to that. And he really has made a difference, and he set the tone. And all of our reforms in the public school system, in some senses, Herman Badillo should take credit for it. So he can't be here today. His wife is not feeling well. But the next time you see Herman Badillo, if you want to do something nice, just walk up and say, Herman, you know, we're all really a great beneficiary of what you did. So thank you. I do think, yes, you can do it. I do think that, well, we're certainly going to have some economic problems here. This economy is not going to turn around easily. There's a crisis of confidence. People are scared. Even if they're not losing their jobs, even if they're not losing their homes, they are very worried that it may happen to them. And somehow or other, we've got to work our ways through that. We've got to have people be optimistic. And as I said this morning when I was at church, I said, you know, the city isn't perfect. Our state isn't perfect, our country isn't perfect, but I would rather live here than any place else. Thank you for having
me. Yeah, the mayor's going to be leaving, so what we're going to do is